Brain damage. Jake's from band, we all have brain damage. You're in band. I was hit in the back of the head with the trumpet slide and was great.
Somewhere on this campus with also there is coming. Would they haven't been that part of the soccer game? I doubt it. Well, that's Kate Anthony Fields function. This is Kate Anthony Fields function. Kate Anthony Fields is right there. Kate Anthony Fields, you bought. Kate Anthony. These guys recording the match.
Alright!
Stupid. Put it in wide lens stuff, man.
And there's available seats for those that are standing in the back.
Oh wait, so they don't want that.
You don't have to. Be a friendly environment, be comfortable. Don't just stand in the back for like an hour.
Good morning. Good after morning. Good morning.
Alright. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Matthew Balzer. I've been serving as percussion director or percussion dude for this past marching season. And will continue to be a unit director with fellow percussion tech Brandy Griffin. Everybody wave, everybody say hi. Your children, maybe if they've mentioned me, have either called me Matthew Balzer, Matt, Mr. Matt, and or whatever weird combination that Alyssa decides on that day. Major, minor, farmer, former, Matt.
Major, minor, farmer, former Matt.
Yes, correct. Whatever it is. Alright, so we're gonna get right on ahead to what the 2023 production is gonna be about. So, program information. Show title, Rewritten. Rewritten is about a composer who lacks confidence in their musical writing capabilities, but through the process of the show, they come to accept their writing as part of themselves, altering their mentality and becoming rewritten. Throughout the show, the composer and their thoughts are represented by the front ensemble and through voice lines, while the music being written is represented by the drum line. We are also looking for a piano visual soloist to play the part of the composer visually and as a character on the floor.
Like an actual piano player or just a visual?
A piano. And with that, I'll play some of the music. Now this first movement is a little bit sparse, if you will. I didn't get to fill out everything. But the second movement that I'll play, that is closer towards what a finished product would be without some production, sound effects, and voice lines. So there would be a little bit more, a little bit longer at the end of what I just played. That would be a transition into the ballad. Now, one thing I forgot to write in my presentation, as you heard in that first snippet, there was a bit of call and response between what the front ensemble is playing, the da-ga-da-da-ga-da-ga-da, and then what the snare drums are playing. Don't make fun of my drum speak now. I know, but they know what it sounds like, yeah. It's the universal drum speak, Nala. Alright, so there was a bit of call and response between what the front ensemble is playing and then what the drum ensemble answers. As in, the composer is thinking about what to write, there will be a voice line thinking, alright, the snare line plays, front ensemble plays their part, and then the snare drums respond. But you heard it's a little bit different. It's not exactly what the composer had in mind. So they immediately say, no, that's not quite right. They rewrite a new section, and then plays a second call and response thing where the tenors then enter and then just completely mess it up. Like, it's not even what the composer had in mind anymore. They get frustrated, they question their ability and why they're even writing music in the first place, and the ballad seems to reflect such a mentality. So you look so excited. Cool. That will be part of the thing. We'll be handing out copies of audition extras, but we'll get to that later. And then movement 3 will go into more of a joyous, like, power closer of like them actually accepting what they're writing, and you'll hear later when everything is finished and put together that motifs of both the first movement and the second movement are then put together as the composer realizes that they had good ideas, they just needed to be brought together, and thus their ideals are rewritten. All right, and then one thing I forgot to get to, because I see many a winds player in here, which I am very glad about. Like, thank you for showing up, making the turnout. What is indoor percussion? I probably should have done that before. So, indoor percussion, for those who are unaware, is basically all of the marching percussion involved with marching outdoor band. So that's drum line, that's front ensemble, and there's also a cymbal line that we will be doing, which is very visually focused. But that, whoa. Yes. So that is essentially what indoor percussion is. Drums in a gym, pretty much the sentence summarized in one go. It's both a really fun experience and a really good learning experience. Even if you are a winds player, there are skills that will be transferable. For one, if you're on a marching instrument, you will greatly improve visually when it comes to the fall. And even musically, like what's something for people that are in concert band and cadet band that Mr. Jones always gets on all the winds players about?
Timing.
Nightmare Before Christmas. No, is rhythms, right? Right, like especially in This Is Me, for those who are in concert band. This Is Me, winds players. Not good. Not good. Struggle with rhythms. Luckily, we've improved that. But obviously, all we do is rhythms. So you will just see that improved a greatfold. It's a very good experience. And let's get on with the rest of the presentation. All right. So, costume props. The basic costume on there is just a black thing because I didn't have time to write out all the designs that we have in mind. So it would be a black uniform base. So we would probably use the marching pants that we use. Bibbers from marching band, and then have a black long sleeve top over it. And then props idea is one of those big rolling whiteboards that can both be moved around on the floor and can be written on, as the composer, who is a visual soloist, who would also be playing piano, can write big words on. There would also be like pieces of paper that would be ripped up, maybe in movement one as they're frustrated, and similar things like that. Floor would be, yet again, this is just a rough sketch, it would be the white part. So it would be a white floor base with 5 lines of staff going across big diagonally, and then there'd be a clef in the upper left diagonal. There would be a stage, which would be where the piano soloist would be, and then the whiteboard would be behind them so that they could have ready access to it. And you remember the uniforms, they're black. Randy just had this wonderful idea like an hour ago of comparing it to the black uniforms on the performers are almost like music note heads. Yeah, and like staging potentially could be like performers making out like notes that are being played in the front ensemble. So certain melodies and motifs. If there's a big ode there, that would be a very good idea. So the performers, like we said earlier, the drum line is the music and the front ensemble is the composer. Schedule, let's get into logistics. So schedule, rehearsals will be every Tuesday and Thursday from 5:30 to 8 p.m., same as last year for people that were involved last year, except for school holidays, of course, or stated otherwise. There is a possibility for certain Wednesday sectionals if we would need. However, these would be in rare occurrence and would be a little bit shorter, like hour and a half, and would probably be immediately after school on Wednesdays, so maybe till 4. And we would let them know ahead of time, like at least a week in advance. It would be, how many of parents in here downloaded the Google Calendar from the website this season? It was a big help, right? Whenever that got updated and changes went out, so you got notifications and emails of what we would do. We would do a similar thing here. We would just set it up, and then you could download the Google Calendar app and then add it to your Google Calendar. We plan to attend roughly 4 to 5 competitions. It'd probably be either 4 or 5, depends on if we have time in our schedule and how things line up. Competitions are going to be on Saturdays, same thing as marching band, starting February 4th. That would be the first competition that we'd be starting at. I believe that's the one in it's in Mississippi somewhere, right? Denham Springs? Yeah. Or no, Denham Springs. So it's not Mississippi. Okay. Obviously, Denham Springs is.
Wrong Springs.
Dutchtown is the one that's. No, Dutchtown is also in Louisiana. I am going insane. Saint, no, it's Saint Tammany, right? Or no, that's Saint Martin. Saint Martin. That's in Mississippi. We're gonna get lost. That's in Mississippi. Sorry, I'm getting things confused. All right, we're gonna get back on track. All right. So competitions are on Saturdays, starting February 4th. More specific dates will be added later once we get a full calendar. With the exception of LMCGPC Circuit Championships, which will be on a Sunday, April 2nd. That's just because I believe Guard is Saturday, and they're splitting it up so it's not till like midnight anymore, where they would do everything in one day, and it just was a mess. They're splitting it up now so that it'll be percussion on one day and Guard on the other day. Cool. We will make a full calendar as soon as we know all necessary dates and information. That will be handed out on audition day, which I will get to now. So, schedule for this week. Obviously, today is the parent-student meeting, which you are at. Tuesday, tomorrow is the Christmas concert, so we're obviously not going to be doing anything indoor percussion related tomorrow. We'll let that be for tomorrow. And then Wednesday starts our audition camps. So Wednesday is going to be the first audition camps from 2:30 to 5. And then Thursday will be the second audition camp, 2:30 to 5 as well. So these first two camps, they are a teaching and learning experience. They are not high pressure. They are not doing individual auditions at all. They're just, hey, show up if you want to learn a couple things. Even if you don't plan on doing the program full time, we'd love to have you learn a couple things as well. They're super low stress, no commitment at all. And then, bless you. And then Friday, that's the big one. That is actual audition day, 2:30 to 5:30. 5:30 being a rough estimate for when it would end. So Friday is going to be structured in like first hour 15 minutes is going to be a big full ensemble block. So drumline would be together and front ensemble would be together, just to see how students behave and work in a full ensemble environment, if they talk too much, if they're teachable, that sort of thing. And then we will go into individual auditions, separated. Front ensemble will have a room, and then we'll probably have this room. So after that, reason why I said roughly 5:30 is once we start individual auditions, as soon as they do their individual audition, see ya, they can leave. Like, they're not stuck here until 5:30. As soon as they're done, they can go. And then obviously once everybody goes, me and Brandy will have a talk, see, hey, who's right for what instrument. And just letting you know, I was going to say this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday too. Just because you don't make a certain instrument does not mean we wouldn't like you in another place, or that you are a bad performer by any means. Cool. And at the bottom, we understand that these are last minute times and dates. I was on Luquette, I was like, do you have an email list that you could send all of these on? And he was like, no, it'll be fine, they know. And I was like, okay, we understand that these are last minute times and dates. If you have any schedule conflicts and or prior commitments, please just let us know as soon as you can. We understand. If we need to move around like an audition, like if we need to pull you from class one day and do an individual audition then, we'd be fine with doing that. But just let us know. Preferably not all at once. If you want to make a line as soon as we're done here tonight, I can get a piece of paper and or on my phone, and I can make a list of who's not going to be here on what day. Cool. So this is the one that always divulges into things. This is the money part. So I was also hoping Jones would be here to back me up, but fees same exact as last year, and same exact as Winter Guard. We're not trying to break the bank here. Like, we're trying to keep them as low as possible, which is why I'm writing like the show, because buying a show is expensive, and we're just trying to keep costs as low as possible. So fees, all that money will go towards things like props, costumes, floor, the drill, because I can't write drill. That's the one thing. So we would have to outsource for that. Equipment and staff pay. Because I don't think they can't use the fair share thing. I don't think for indoor. I think that's the drill. Yeah, I don't remember. Cool. Contract. All the students will be handed a contract Friday when they come in for their individual audition. It'll just be a packet saying, hey, if you make it and want to do this this organization, here's what you need to know. Here's some terms and conditions, like, hey, if you don't show up for like 5 rehearsals in a row, like, ain't cool. Any other logistical details and requirements necessary for the success of the program, it'll be addressed in there, which will be handed out when they come in for their individual auditions on Friday. Signed and completed contracts if they make the organization. Another thing, once we decide who makes what instrument, I'll send it out to Jones Friday night, and then he'll probably send it out on an email list and or put it in their Google Classrooms. What?
So that's more likely.
Yeah. But signed and completed contracts will be due by Tuesday, December 20th, last day before holiday break. So that is next Tuesday, which is the last day of school before the break. Calendars will also be handed out on audition day. Hopefully, if we get everything sorted out, there will be an attendance requirement section in the contract. Students will fill out a time split sheet similar to marching band. If they've had to do that, they already know how it works. It's if they're participating in other school activities that we need to know, hey, I'm not going to be able to make this rehearsal like on Tuesdays, or I'm going to be late 30 minutes on Thursdays, something like that. All right, questions, comments, concerns? I'll open it up to the floor. Fundraising. That is another thing I should have put on there. I will get with Luquette. We will make sure we get as many fundraising opportunities as we can.
The question was asked on the Facebook page and never answered.
Okay, that tracks.
Those that were doing guard or indoor, if we sell extra of the raffle tickets,
Right.
can that go towards this? I know you can't answer that, I'm saying the
Right,
question was
right.
posed, if we can get an answer.
Yeah, I'll get that. Brandon, can you jot that down? My phone's recording in the back. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, for internet.
oh my god.
All right, Logan.
Will it be like, you know how some groups have like custom drums?
He wants drum raps. I can tell you now, that ain't in the budget. I can tell you. And you know what? Hey, you know what? The drums are black. That'll match your black uniform. That's how I'll justify that, and not spending money.
But it could have been so much cooler.
Simmer down, let's have a.
All right, Leo.
So you said you pass out music to the students that want to do indoor.
I do have audition excerpts. I will have to make copies of these. I will get a number of who wants to play what instrument, and I will make copies of these. You will have to give me time. Like, I can go do that in a bit after we're done taking questions, but don't swarm me, children.
I won't be bugging you tomorrow.
Dorian.
Okay, is Symboline like set, like is that generally gonna be a thing, or is it depending on how many people do?
Probably the latter, but I personally would love to have it. I would love to have it. Okay, all right.
Are we
Anybody?
shooting for 4 or 5 bases?
I would love to have 5.
I think it was written on 5.
It's written for 5. I can change it. So like, yet again, and pass this information that was talked about tonight. Like, if you got friends that aren't here now, especially friends that took the paper in class today and then aren't here now, like, pass along the information. Get it around. Like, we want this to be big this year. Like, I think we have a really good opportunity piggybacking off of the success that we had in the fall. And I think we're in a really good spot right now as far as talent and just like drive to do something good. All right, questions. Yes.
Props wise, Dad's always wondering about props. How many props do you plan on doing behind the stage? Yeah.
That was my question.
Not an actual piano. It would just couple questions. So another thing I meant to put in the props list would be a like rolling stage that the piano or keyboard really is a keyboard that can go on there, and then props ideas that would be a we'd have to talk about that at another point. That would be
Vinyl front and put like an electronic.
correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like attach that to the front of the rolling stage.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in conjunction with that question, and I'll, are we doing a drum kit, or we don't know yet, or?
I wrote a drum set part.
You did.
I mean, I wrote one. We don't have to have one. I just wrote one in
I'm just trying
case.
to wrap in my head how many things.
Right, that's what I'm saying, because instead
How
of
many
going all
things
like,
we're loading, yeah.
Yeah.
loading it out is trailer wise, is loading the trailer,
Of course.
everything is.
Yeah.
Because depending on how big the stage is for the keyboard piano,
Right.
it's gonna be a.
Of course.
That might
Yeah.
be a whole trailer.
Right.
Right.
Probably. I was planning on keeping it small. Like it's not going to be a big stage.
Like
But-
a 5x4x4 or something like that. or
Yeah,
5x4.
something like that.
That's
Enough,
why I
like
was asking about
big
the
enough.
drum kit, because if we're not using a drum kit,
Right.
we're
the drum
using
kit,
that
right.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll see. That'll be like probably over the break conversation. Mainly so that we know like what our budget is and like what we can actually do with it.
We'll put wood over it.
Yeah, I just made sure to just keep it. I made sure to just keep it broad, like in there, like just like I have ideas, obviously, but I made sure to just keep it broad so that we can have those conversations.
That's what I'm thinking, because I want you to have the whiteboard in the back, just trying to figure out how big is the board.
Right.
How big is it?
Yeah, that would be a later thing. But yes, thank you. That's a good question. All right. Questions. Extra? What do you mean extras? Oh, it would just be one soloist, like one visual soloist. All right. All right, I'm serious this time. Any big, small questions, anything? Like, because now is the time. Yes.
When are the fees due for your
Fees?
He said.
No, when they do.
No, when they're
Oh,
due.
when are they due?
That's a little Kevin Jones question. I was kind of when Jones would be here for
Usually
that.
it's hard
Yeah.
because
Yeah, they'll work with you like,
We did the calendar sale.
yeah.
Because nobody ever asked.
Right. Leo.
Is there gonna be a guitar set for the part?
I could write that as I do play both of those instruments, but
Don't let him on the piano or
like
he knows how to play by ear.
no, but like no. At a point there. Okay, there is a point where it's like, all right, do we have a guitar and bass, or do we have an extra snare or tenor or bass drums player? Like that's kind of needs to be a little bit of prioritization there. How many movements? It's 3 movements, standard. Well, it's a pre-show kind of thing, like 30 seconds. Like there's gonna be an intro sample, you know, standard like show sort of thing. What? Right, yeah. So, I mean, standard indoor format is usually your first movement, then you have your ballad movement, which is your second movement, and then you have your third movement. And then that's pretty much it. Right, and well, actually, the show length for Class A is usually like 5.5. It's like maybe a little bit less. I don't know. Here's Bob. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm gonna need a custom number. Okay. Just make a bunch. All right. Awesome. Yeah.
The third one has all messed up rims.
Oh, you can do that.
The third tenor has messed up rims.
Yeah. Take it there. So that you're not walking back all the way. You're like, it's locked. What?
It's very nice.
You get new heads. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Are the shirts gonna be like custom made, or are we just gonna like go to Hobby Lobby and pick up a bunch of Satisfax shirts?
I don't know. This whole program is balling on the budget. Like, we ain't got Vanderbilt money. We ain't got like all that money. Fortunately, I'd love to get like $200 custom uniforms with like swirls of whatever on it. But
Realistically, we're
that'll
probably
be
just gonna like pick up a bunch of shirts.
maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I know Jones was going to talk to the same dude that did our marching band uniforms because he's chill with them and see like, hey, what could you do for like $20 a kid, like for a top or like something like that. Corey. What? Not marching band, but like, no, we're not wearing that. Corey, I want you to think about our budget and then think about how much would sink that. Because it's not me though. I don't make that.
I saw that too.
It's like, yeah, like a regular, like pretty much, yeah, like a little bit longer like that, yeah. Correct, right. Which is, I think Jones was like gonna ask for like his teachers of like, hey, is there a rolling whiteboard anywhere in this school that we could just use and not have to spend, and that would be another way to cut costs.
I asked one question aloud and my nerves are shot. Do you need therapy?